Akira.
Hi, it's Ricky of Moshville Times here once again. Now, tonight we are joined by six-piece electronic new metal metalcore band from Portsmouth. That's not easy to say, ladies and gentlemen. It is, of course, Seething Akira. And tonight we've got Richard on bass, we've got vocalist Kit, we've got guitarist Simon, and I forgot we've got vocalist, dancer, master of hee-haw, Charlie, with us. Nice of you to join up, mate. But unfortunately, drummer Stu and guitarist John can't make it to this interview because he's in his car just now. So sorry for fucking disturbing you, mate. I mean, you've only known about this interview for 2 weeks, but never mind. How the devil are you guys?
Awesome, mate. Thank you. Yeah, really good.
All the better from hearing your accent, my friend. It's nice.
Well, good. You'll get to hear it face to face when I see you in a few weeks' time at Rabid Fest and things like that. But we'll talk about Rabid Fest But tonight is all things Seething Akira. But I don't normally do this. Can I just say I don't start interviews like this, but I have to make a complaint. Because when you were sunning yourself, Charlie, over in Australia, I had to deal with Sai and Kit on my radio show on a Thursday night. Not Thursday there, but the Thursday before. But my complaint to you is when you're away, things are just a fucking shambles. Excuse me, I think after the discussion that we had, I had a legitimate claim to that because your new single was getting released the following day, right? But I'm on a radio show. I didn't get an exclusive, so I wasn't happy with them.
And I did say, like, I wanted to. It was Simon that literally come around my house and he kicked me in the shin and was like, no, we ain't doing it.
Just blame Simon straight away.
How dare he, right, Ricky? How dare he? I was like, let's give our boy Ricky the exclusive. And Simon's like, no, do you know I am? I headline downloads.
do you know what, Joel? We could keep this safe, and what we might as well do is the age-old classic. We should blame John and Stu.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yes,
absolutely.
It was them.
It was definitely those guys. Yeah.
I was definitely them. But I definitely noticed, though, Charlie, like when you're away, the Seething Akira social media presence goes down quite a bit. So you must be the social media whore.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. Nailed.
To be fair, the things that they actually put up were funnier than your posts. But
okay, good. Then they can keep doing it. Not a problem. That works for me as well.
Good stuff. Good stuff. But so yeah, I've got a lot of questions for you. But one of the main reasons for this interview is that on October the 19th, you're coming to Glasgow to play Moshville Rocktoberfest, and for the next few weeks, I'll be interviewing each band on the bill. So firstly, thanks very much for saying yes, most of all, and making a long trip up to Glasgow because you couldn't be further away, could you? So how are you going to get up then? Is it going to be a bit of a trek? Are you doing an overnighter or what are you doing?
Go on, Kit. You're going to want to show off. You might as well do it now.
This diva's flying. Hell am I flying? Christ,
helicopter, didn't he?
I'll pay that money just to get some of my life back.
He's flying. The rest of us are all going to be in our ex-postal van for about 7 or 8 hours. So if we didn't know each other already, we're definitely going to after that journey for sure. But yeah, it's going to be an early start, very early start.
Yeah. Have you got somewhere to stay?
So I have, and so has Kit, but I don't know the other boys. Who doesn't? We're really split, aren't we?
This is really funny because the two people are not here, and I'm going to say it anyway. John has treated Stu to a hotel and didn't put it in front of anyone else.
It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. Don't know. How do you guys feel about that? So obviously we had somewhere to stay, but Spud, Simon, how do you feel about that? About the
I think there's something going on with those two, you know?
Yeah, the accommodation booker has blown you out.
I'm the accommodation booker.
You know what Stu and John like of a night. They just keep talking and talking and talking. I don't want to be shackled between those two massive mouths. Yeah, no. I'll sleep in the van. It's fine. Me and Si get cuddled up on a regular anyway. It's probably we have a system. It works. We're fine. It's fine. I'll have a sleeping bag, and Si will probably fit in that as well.
Well,
all good.
I'm saying this live on air, so it is something else for you to consider. My mum is actually coming up to my house from Loch Lomond on the Friday to clean up my house because I told her that there are going to be people staying over on the Saturday. So you guys are more than welcome to stay over on the Saturday. I make a mean roll and sausage in the morning, but there might be about 9 or 10 people staying, and I've only got one double bed. But what happens in Glasgow stays in Glasgow.
There was 9 in the bed, and the little one said,
Well, at least you guys will have somebody to cuddle into rather than Charlie and Kit on their own. You know what I mean?
They're gonna miss us. You'd miss us. Come on.
"Yeah,
You're gonna
they
miss
will."
No, you see, this is what I love about this is the beauty about Seething Akira. I mean, apart from the band name, but is that you are asked to like play gigs with a variety of genres. So whether it be with Skindred, Arseholes, Tribe of Ghosts, or playing festivals with the likes of Ingested or Catatonia. I love Catatonia as well. So that's more of my scene. But when it comes to like choosing your set list and the vast array of songs that you've got to choose from, how do you do it with things like you've played with Pop Will Eat Itself as well? How do you choose your songs for the particular audience? Because I'd imagine your set list will be different with Ingested than it would be with Skindred, for example.
Who wants it? I can do it. That's all you want. Off you go, Kit.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, we take on board who our crowd is going to be, who our demographic is going to be,
Yeah.
and we tailor our songs around that. But also, we will occasionally, for example, if we play like a super heavy one, we'll chuck a fun one in because it's a nice little. It's almost like a sorbet after a meal, you know. It's a nice little palate refresher. Going, oh, okay, it's not another black metal band. Cool. And actually, that does sometimes work quite heavily in our favor. Especially, I think there's one we played at Goth Festival, and it was like, oh crikey, like you guys don't look that miserable. I'm like, yeah, correct.
Yeah. I was just thinking of you doing your black metal stuff with Seething, with the T being an inverted T, you know.
We do have that somewhere. I made a Seething Akira metal logo, and the I in Akira is an upside down cross. That was some very early merch, Ricky. You have to bring it back from the woodworks.
Absolutely, and if you've got a picture of it, I want it, and I'll put it in an article. Because that'll be cool. That'll be cool. But what about yourself, Charlie? What would you like to add to that, mate?
So just to kind of double down on what Kit says, I mean, often we, excuse me, we do look at demographic and we do try and pull in the right tunes to fit who we're going to be in front of. But as you know, we're never the extreme in any area. We do a lot of mixing, but we're never like heavy in one place. So a lot of people come for the heaviest of the heavy or like the danciest of the dance. But we do try and drop the odd one that's completely out of kilter, and often it is to see the reaction. And we're always enjoying the hell out of ourselves, no matter what it is, no matter who we're in front of. You know, just us together playing is like, it's what's kept us together so long. Why we enjoy it is literally playing live. And what we have found, even if we're not necessarily fitting, people can just kind of see that there's enjoyment going on. They just, know that we're having a good time and literally kind of like relax a little bit and just let it go, even if it's not their thing. Like I've definitely had a comment a few times where it's been, like not my thing, but just enjoyed being there. A lot of
probably
people
our most common thing that said to us, like, yeah, not my thing, but I'm like, yeah,
we're never anyone's thing, but they accept that we exist.
So what about, have you ever thought about doing a wee B-side single or something like that? And Charlie and Kit, you lower your voices, you get a wee bit of growl going. Well, I would have picked on Stu to do a wee bit of a blast beat, but he's not here, so just use a drum machine. So down his guitar.
I won't ruin everything, but there are talks. That's all I'll say.
Good. That's enough as well. That is enough.
Right. Can I just say, you probably guessed behind me, like every Thursday I play an old school death metal show. So if and when you do this, you know exactly where to send it first. And this time it's an exclusive. Right?
Well,
is that okay, Simon? Yeah, there he is.
What's it worth?
What's it worth?
Gatekeeper Williams over here.
Yeah, cool. But since it's been over 2 years from your third album, see fucking band names and album titles, Nozomi being released. And imagine that you guys have been busy writing material and busy behind the scenes and getting something officially released by the band, which is definitely a long time coming. So I was wondering if you guys were actually becoming like a doom metal band. What with the time that's taken, as it only took you a year to release Nozomi from Dysfunctional Wonderland, but it's taken you 2 years to release the new album. So I was just wondering if you were becoming doom metal or something like that.
No, well, lazy. We've become lazy. That's not actually true. Is it, boys? Why is it taking so long? It's kind of been it's a mix of things, wasn't it? Really, like
I think
we tried after Dysfunctional Wonderland. That was how long ago? What? So that's 3 years ago, right? Yeah, just over 3 years ago. Dysfunctional Wonderland. When that dropped, that was kind of all the singles were during COVID, and for some reason that really gave us good traction. Like that really put us in front of some people, and things started to pick up. So we desperately wanted to follow it pretty quick with more. So we started writing Nozomi really, really fast, like straight off the bat of that. And it's taken us typically about 9 months to write 10 tracks.
Yeah.
As an average. And then you kind of got a booking, get it recorded, go through the process of the mixing, the mastering, which takes another kind of two months or so. And then you're looking at the release schedule and how you release it on distribution, yada, yada. So this time around, it just took us longer to write it. We recorded it. Guys, was it June last year? I think it was June last year. Anything? Yeah. So we've been sitting on it for some time, but we've also been really deciding about how we release it. And eventually it made sense to go independent. So we mutually split with a label called Fixed, based in LA. Yeah. Really nice guys, but just kind of like a few things weren't fitting. The fault of neither side. But this time around, it was a case of whether we kind of jump onto another label or release it ourselves. And it's going to be interesting to see how we do because we're on our own with this one.
Yeah.
But
I suppose piggybacking off of that as well, like these Dysfunctional Wonderland was recorded in January of 2020, and then COVID hit. So we actually sat on that one for quite a while. I think it was just a case of by the time that was actually due release, we was already well in the writing cycle for album 3 for us. So I think that was a factor as well.
Yeah. Sorry, Richard, I think you were going to say something before you were rudely interrupted by the vocalists. I mean, they just love talking about themselves.
No, I probably just saw something shiny. It inspired a film quote in my head that I had to verbalise before it went away. It probably wasn't even relevant. Don't worry about it, honestly.
I can see what he brings to the band, guys. I can.
Definitely a bassist.
Low end.
Oh, this is a question for Richard and Simon then. So how does it feel to have it at this stage and the songs are ready to be released? Especially where there may be times where you thought this isn't going to happen or you've had setback after setback, like as you were talking about the label and things. So when can we expect things to be released? When can we expect the album Fourth Estate to be released?
So he's literally checking his spreadsheet right now. He's literally checking
his spreadsheet.
Due to release. So we've got a couple more singles released yet. Can we mention when the album's going to be released?
I've already done it, mate. You was in the video.
I know what it is. All right.
October 25th. Friday, October 25th, along with our last single. That is how much I've had.
Cheers, dude. Cheers.
I think your brain is losing signal.
It's only going to get better.
So how does it feel to be at that stage again? I mean, we're going to talk about how you release things as a band, but did it take a lot out of you this time recording this album?
No, I think it was pretty relaxed. We went back with Oz Craggs, who's done the last couple of albums, and he's like a part of the band with us now. It's so I don't know about you guys, but it's so easy sitting in the room and recording with him.
Yeah,
you just know to trust his judgment. If he suggests something, 9 times out of 10 it just works. Isn't that right, Simon? Solos.
Well, yes. I've got that in my question sheet for later on. Stop answering my bloody questions before I've asked them. But like going back to Oz and yourself, Charlie, were there any phrases that made you think, I'm going to have to do this again? Does it say anything to you like, is that really what you want to go with, or do you want to do that again?
Yeah, Oz is phenomenal. One of the reasons that makes him such a good producer is how diplomatic he can be and how he learns about who's in the room and people. There's one thing about being able to produce, and there's one thing about understanding band dynamics. And Oz is phenomenal at directing you into different areas that you don't think you want to get to, and then you get there and you listen or you see it and you go, shit, that's actually really good. Exactly like Kit says, like it's very rarely, Joe, if Oz hears this, he'll be like, no, boys, no, that's rubbish. But it's very rare that he gets it wrong. Like, and you get a thing called, have you heard of demoitis, Ricky?
Demoitis? No, I've not
Yeah,
heard that phrase. No.
It's a real thing. So when you're writing demos and you're writing them from start to finish, you listen to them over and over and over and over. And within those demos, you have things set at certain levels. You have things how you're used to them. And obviously you go with another producer and it's recorded, levels are changed, things are altered, and you naturally think this is wrong when you hear it because it's not what your demo sounds like.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying to me, do not come back to me after like the first 2 listens. He was like, I don't want to hear from you for at least 2 weeks and listen to it like every day a few times. And it's true. Eventually, like you fall into it and you realize, fuck, this sounds way better than the demos. But you have to, your brain just tells you it's wrong because it's not the same as the demo.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's very, very good, very special. Yeah, loving him bits.
Well, we're going to talk about the recording experience a wee bit later on, but how many songs can we expect? And did you have like guest musicians on? Are you allowed to say?
We had a guest musician on, didn't we, Simon?
No.
So all these in jokes, boys, all these in jokes aren't funny for others. You know that, right? So it's 10 tracks. We have no guest vocalists on any of them.
Well, you don't need a guest vocalist when you've got 2 vocalists in the band. I mean, that's
know.
that's one thing I love seeing live in a band is like having more than one vocalist. I just think it adds so much diversity to a song.
I think so
You've
too,
heard these guys, right?
We're really lucky, actually. We're really lucky because Kit has always been. As soon as I met Kit, Kit was like, he knew exactly what he was and what he was doing from the get-go. Charlie, right, had to, and this is just nothing but respect, had to learn, like just work from the ground up. And so I've been watching Charlie sing now, like in the studio, like through the course of the 3 albums, and watching his progression has been incredible. It really has, like, and his ability just to find his voice instantly and know what he's trying to do. Honestly, it's been
Appreciate that.
Amazing.
I see what you're trying to do there, but to be honest, the times that I've seen Charlie, it's Kit that's doing the singing, and Charlie's just dancing behind him and jumping about. Charlie does half the vocals of what Kit does. So he's not that good. He's not that good.
I'm not even gonna. Yeah, go on then. Whatever.
Well, truth hurts, doesn't it? So yeah, but no, it's like, was there ever conversation of like making it an EP? Because the thing I like about you guys is you've got the perfect mix of old school and new school. I was kind of saying this to the guys on the radio the last Thursday. You've got bands up here like Dog Tired who are phenomenal up here, and they just do album, couple of years album because they love the physical product, they love the artwork, they like the lyrics, they love the physical holding of something. Whereas you guys love that. I mean, it's a 4th album that's coming out, but you also like single, couple of months single video and all the rest of it and keeping your name out there. So it seems to me like you guys have got the perfect mix. But was there ever a talk of it EP?
No, so I think really the drop of singles is down to kind of just today's world of socials and staying relevant. You have to have like content or constant content. To be fair, it's been frigging painful the past year or so not really dropping anything. But you know, like to drop an EP or even like an entire album on like one drop, people give a shit for like 2 weeks now, and then it doesn't matter. So really, we're forced to release single after single, and like as we're doing this year, how many is it? 4 singles and then the album, something like that.
We're releasing the album
his album release.
Single.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, it's a few singles spread across whatever months, just to kind of build up and kind of keep relevant and be on all those kind of platforms. It's fucking horrible, Ricky, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like it's all of this is really boring binary shit, but it's the only real way that you keep in front of people, for them to know that you're still there. I would love to write for the album. Still, for me, one of the favorite bits, and I think we're going to be going into it, right? But getting in a room with everyone for 2 weeks doing it, as opposed to like recording at home.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that experience, and that's half the reason why I'm here is doing that. But dropping a full album, like all the tracks, you're wasting it if you do that now. Sadly.
The opposite of that is like people, their attention span is like 6 seconds. So they go onto Spotify, they'll press click. Nah, I don't like this riff. And they'll instantly dismiss the band within the first 5-6 seconds. So it's a cutthroat business, you know?
If only it was as long as 5 or 6 seconds.
Hey, listen, you can keep your private life to yourself, mate. But but yeah, I mean, it's something that we do a lot up here. I mean, you know, my scene is like the old school death metal scene, and in Scotland is absolutely booming at the moment. But one of the reasons for that is it's DIY or die. Like when it comes to artwork, they get a local artist to do it. They do it themselves, and they get the artist to do the merch. There's now a pressing plant up here in Scotland to do vinyl, which is the first time in decades. So they take it to Scotland and things like that. So is that another reason as to why you guys went independent? You just want full control, no pressures. You guys do what you want when you want.
That was a huge part of it, especially now. Like we've got an independent photographer that's done the artwork for the album.
Yeah.
So we managed to source that. But yeah, that kind of control that we've had. I mean, bear in mind, it's always extra work when you don't have like those kind of helping hands from a label. But at the same time, the fact that, you know, whatever happens with the album as well, hate to go all financial, right? But it's ours. Like we own it. It's all ours. So I think we can be proud of that. And I'm quite excited about being independent this time. I'm actually really glad.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to. I mean, who knows? You'll release the album, and then a few months later, you might get contacted by a record company, and you might actually welcome the record company behind you again. Who knows? It's a learning curve, isn't it? But I had a really bloody good question there for you, Simon, and I've bloody forgotten it.
It happened last time. It happened last week.
Yeah, it did. See, this is what happens live. I'm a wee bit under pressure. There's 4 of you, you know. That was. Oh no, it'll come back to me. But you've released a couple of singles from the new album, Fourth Estate, namely "Resilient" and "Time Changes." So, what would you say the subtle differences between Fourth Estate and your previous material, in particular, Nozomi? So, do you know what? I'll ask each and every single one of you that. So, what would you say, Richard, are the subtle differences from this record to the previous record in your back catalogue, but more so your Nozomi?
I think, if I can go a bit further than that, I think when we recorded Dysfunctional Wonderland, we as a group did quite a hard pivot into a much sort of lower, genty style tuning. And when that happened, we all had to we're all forced to find our places a little bit.
Yeah.
Then we did Nozomi, and things were a little bit solidified. We'd done plenty of shows with each other. We spent more time as friends, and when we got into the room, we saw
as what? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. People who know each other sometimes a bit.
Yeah, tolerate.
And then work colleagues. And so things were a little bit easier process-wise. And this time it's like a dance. Everyone knows instinctively what is expected and what they're asked to provide and does it. I mean, for me personally, I was never really into like that kind of low tuning style type of music. So for me, it was quite a steep learning curve. But now it's a little bit, I understand instinctively now of what like those riffs require.
Yeah.
You know?
No, absolutely, mate. Thank you very much for that. Simon, what would you say the subtle differences are from the previous output?
It kind of builds on what Richard said. Like
Richard? Sorry,
Richard.
Everyone calls me Spud, by the way. Everyone calls me Spud. It's funny because it's kind of like what Richard said. You can see everyone's going like, who the fuck is Richard?
Which one's Richard?
Who the fuck's Richard? Spud, do you know who Richard is?
Like we kind of we knew our sound. We knew the songs we wanted to write, and like there was a little change in terms of writing the music side of things, for especially the way me and John worked. Is a lot of songs on this new album were a combination of us both, whereas before it was very much John's written that song, Simon's written that song. Whereas this time around, it was very much that's combine our ideas, and the combining was mainly down to Charlie. Like he would go, I like your bit, I like his bit, and then he would just fucking mangle them together, and then you've just got a monster. So,
well, it's, for what I've heard so far with the 2 singles, it certainly appears to have worked. But Kit, what would you say, mate? Are there subtle differences?
Yeah, I think so. Nozomi, I suppose, secretly was kind of like a bit of a concept album around the name of what it is, right? Hope, Wish, and Desire is what is Nozomi translated to. So every song, lyrically is what I do. Like lyrically, everything was attached to that meaning in some degree.
Yeah.
Where this one's kind of gone a bit more back to like a dysfunctional wonderland of a case of it hasn't really followed an exact theme of like every song is linked to a thing. But I definitely would say it's probably for me personally, a much more honest output on things.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever sugarcoated anything before, but definitely like from an emotive perspective, it's a lot less similes and metaphors. Wait, there's a reference for you.
Oh, I like
And
that.
and a lot more just honest, like this is exactly what was going on at that time, you know?
Yeah.
And I like to keep it kind of ominous because I don't want to dictate that you should feel exactly like this when you listen to this song, because I've written songs about subject A and I speak to someone else to go, I didn't think it was about that at all. I thought it was about this. So I'd actually much rather let other people make their mind up on that side of things. But there's definitely the themes of what I wrote about were significantly more open and a lot more honest than I've ever done personally.
Cool. Thanks very much for that. Thanks, guys. But yes, we're going to go to Charlie now. So how was the recording experience for you, mate? Oh, no, sorry. I'm going to ask you first, like, what's the subtle differences for you? Because I'm going to ask you about your electronics now. I've already said about what music that I'm into, but that's 50%. The other 50% is electronic music. I especially love dark ambient. So I listen to that in the car. I can listen to it when I'm doing work and everything like that. So would you say there's more electronics, less electronics, or more diverse electronics, or what would you say is the difference to Nozomi this time around?
So when it comes to electronics, I'd say more and slightly more diverse as well. So I've managed to kind of bring in I don't know if you can see it over here. I've got some hardware over here.
Very nice.
So I made a point of trying to get some physical hardware synths instead of VSTs into the album.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I found from as the boys say, Dysfunctional Wonderland was really a case of like almost like a brand new style for us, where you had that heavy and a bit of electronic. Nozomi was the coming together and the real lacing of the two styles.
Yeah.
In the kind of the way I envisaged it being for the first time. But I would say Cancel Estate is really the first time where it's the style that I've always wanted it to be.
Yeah.
That mix where there's nothing dominant, as Simon says, everything's kind of mixed together. It's just getting that flow. Like I remember years ago, the kind of when you had the dubstep mixing with metal, and it really was like metal riff, breakdown of electronics, metal riff, and it's just like cut and shut. And that's not what I want. I want to lace it together. And I think Cancel Estate has got that more than anything we've ever written.
Did you think that it took more convincing of the guys with the more electronics and the more diverse electronics, or did the guys just accept it once they heard it?
They kind of just accept it, I think, right? That's
Take
right.
it, Brandon.
Yeah. I don't think anyone told me to tone it down or anything. It's just kind of is that fair to say, boys? No one's really said.
I don't think anyone has that kind of criteria where they go, oh, it's too electronic or it's too metal. Just if it sounds great, that's all that matters, and it sounded great. So
yeah. I think if it sounds like us, that's all that matters. Like I think if it sounds like kind of, I'm not saying that everything sounds the same, but I think we've definitely got an identity now in that sound. Kind of what you were saying earlier about kind of finding our sound and running with it. I think that definitely, if it sounds like us and it doesn't sound like just random like jazz, for example, I might have some questions if he delivered a jazz song to me and be like, what's like, I'll do it, but like, what's going on, you know?
No, fair comment, guys. Fair comment. Thanks very much. It's appreciated. But now going with the studio experience, we're going to go back into the studio again, and I'm going to ask each of you again, how was the recording experience for you all? Sai, you're on the top left. Was it a straightforward process for you, or was there a song which you had to record time and time and time again before you got it right? And everybody's laughing, so there must be a story here.
Spud, I know. Go on.
Yeah, well, they all know what that. They know what they want me to play, fuck's sake. But I'm not going to start with that point. I'm going to start with just no, yeah. Again, going back to how comfortable we are with Oz, and like he can tell you to do something in a different way, a different style, and you wouldn't go, well, "What are you going on about?" You'd try it because you'd have confidence and faith in him, and
Yeah.
then you listen back and just go, "Yeah, that was the right thing to do. Cheers, mate." Um,
So was it
so
some of your parts done ad hoc in the studio on the day that were different to what you demoed, for example?
There was a few small little things which were different. In one song, there's a solo which I'd written. They've prepped you up for this. I can guess.
No,
I
no,
can
no
guess
one has
for
said
that as
anything.
well.
I don't think so. Anyway,
I haven't.
What?
So in a song that is due to be released, there is a solo, of which I wrote a solo too. I, practiced it, was ready to go. It didn't sit right with Oz and the consensus from the rest of the band as well. It was 50-50. Half the guys liked it, half the guys were like, yeah, maybe it's a bit much.
Even though
So
you had demoed it 20 times and the guys had heard it 20 times, it's only till they went into the studio saying, nah, I don't like
oh
it.
no, I said I didn't like it long before the studio.
yeah, there was some reservations beforehand, but
I think that's probably one of the only points where it's like we're going to kind of have to leave this up to us to make this call
Yeah.
because we were so 50-50 split on it. It was like we're just going to have to go with both and just see what he says.
Yeah.
And yeah, so anyway, we tried it in the studio again, got Oz's opinion. He wasn't okay with it or thought it was a bit too much. So just a bit of background on my playing is I'm not really a improvised player. Like improvisation and doing things on the fly like that is not my strong point.
Yeah.
But again, being so comfortable with Oz and the amazing producer that he is, like he played the song a few times and he said, right, just jam out, play some riffs, play some licks. And then he basically listened, recorded it all, picked out some good moments and said, right, okay, I want you to focus on these. And then we worked on those and the solo then came from that idea.
Yeah.
So he basically took me out of my comfort zone and said, improvise over this and we're going to make something amazing. And then, yeah, just.
So that's what I was going to say. So he pushes you, yeah, but are you happier with the end result than what it was before?
Oh, yeah, it's so much more. There's more emotion, more dynamics. It's kind of less is more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm over the moon with it. And then these guys go basically, oh, Oz wrote your solo. Oh,
You had his guitar in your hands. He literally had your guitar in his hands. But that's fine. That's fine. That's a story for another day.
So is that how he's going to appear in the album, then guest solo on track 5, Oz?
Fucking should. That's a great idea, Ricky. Thanks for that.
I did suggest in a music video that's upcoming for that, which have a little subtitle like this solo is brought to you by Oz Craigs.
What about all those vocal bits he did, all the harmonies that he
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
We got him. We got him.
I don't think he stepped up to the mic at all, my friend. But actually, I remember sitting in a camper and writing a whole second verse for a number of songs. So that improvisation was a real thing, but it was done by me, so that's fine.
Wow,
This is what I get. This is the shit I get.
No, it's amazing that you guys have stuck together for this length of time. But I'm going to talk about that. But we may as well go to the boring one now, just the basis, because that must have been like straightforward, one take, done. Was it not, Richard?
Yeah, that was it, mate. Yeah, that's it.
Did you at least try and make it a wee bit exciting by bringing?
Oh yeah, all right. Sorry. Well, Oz himself is a bassist. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
So he done your bass tracks for you.
Bass.
He's done. So he done Simon's track 5 guitar solo. He done the whole bass on this album. What did you do?
The thing is, I think Oz would be proud to say he did that solo, but he wouldn't be proud to say he played the bass on this album. I think that's probably the main difference. No, honestly, it's wonderful working with Oz because it's like, again, like someone was saying, it's like less is more. So you don't need that. You don't need that. You can do more with less and going through the songs and combing through them. He was absolutely right. And there's a few wonderful little harmonies that we actually got going there, like little bits and bobs that no one quite knows except me and Oz, and it's and Charlie definitely, because Charlie definitely went through everything with. But it's wonderful. Like, yeah, I think, and again, it's like a bit of an Oz fest. But I think what makes Oz so good as a producer is that right mix of like mum and dad. where he knows where you need a bit of love and encouragement and sort of back off the piss taking a bit. Going, that was really good, mate. And then he knows he's going to step on the gas and go like, have you played before? Like, is this like your first day?
Yeah.
What's going on? And he knows exactly when you need those two different like motivations. So yeah, it's really wonderful.
How did it feel when you had the 5 or 6 guys watching you, what you were doing, and stuff like that? Did you feel the intense pressure, or did the guys just think it's only fucking bass and they went away for a pint, or they got themselves something to eat?
I don't think anyone really was there apart from me and Oz for the bass takes. I don't think, except maybe a little bit later in the day. It's always, no matter how good you think you are, how well you think you've learned your parts. There's always that bit of red light fever where you're like, okay, well, you're on the clock, and everyone else is taking a side. Everyone is really prepped and really really good musicians. So you want to keep that going, and also you want to do the best, most emotive takes you can. So there's always a little bit of pressure, but that's not a bad thing either.
Nah, cool, absolutely brilliant. Thanks very much, Richard.
Oh, that was a hard R.
But Kel, what about yourself, mate? Like, was there a particular line, or did you? I'd imagine you'd done it in one take. It's Charlie that probably needed 3 or 4, but I imagine that you'd done things in the one take. It was a plain forward, straightforward rehearsal for you.
It's like a bit of yes and no, Ricky, to be honest. Like, predominantly, the good thing about the fact that I'm a monotone wanker is I don't really have all these notes to hit or anything, right? So I basically just talk angrily, and as long as I'm talking angrily, everything's fine. But I think I'd say more around the structure. So there were particular songs where we had an idea during the demo that we're going to do this, and I was just like, I think that should be a second verse. Like, cool. Well, I better go spend the next day at the camper van because I've got to make a second verse. But I think that's the beauty of not doing this in a remote aspect, because it could be so easy for us all just get designer recording equipment, take all the stems and just send it off to him, and he makes it into an album and off we go, right?
Yeah.
The beauty of taking that bit old school, you could say, is Folkestone, where he's based. I don't ever really go there unless we're recording an album. So it's like the moment we enter that area, I'm like, it's such a disconnect from everything.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning. At the time, I was going for a run in the morning, and it would be a case of, right, wake up, run, go record, go for a swim, like really get your head in the game. So when it comes to hitting that studio, you are there to make music. You are not there for a holiday. You're not there having a fucking jolly with your mates. There is an aspect to that, by all means, to when the job is done, right? But it felt like work, but fun work.
So how many days did it take you to record your part of the vocals, and how long was the recording process overall?
So vocals is usually the second half of the week, and that's a mixture of both myself and Charlie. So either if we would literally do it as a case of, right, this is going to be a very harsh song, so I think that vocally we should tailor that towards the end of the week because we want you nice and fresh for the quieter stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really a case of like tailoring your recording sessions to make sure you don't go in on day one and you're going so aggressive that you blow your voice out, and then the rest of the album's fucked. I suppose a little sort of tipping hat to Nozomi on that one. We all got COVID on like the Thursday of that week. Wow. So I think that by Sunday I went back and I tested and it was positive and I was full blown, but I could hear it in my voice on that Friday and Saturday that I was getting a bit more croaky and a bit more breaky. So it was like, I'm fucked. So I'm actually glad that we kept the raspier stuff at that end of it, because it's so easy to hide in the aggression because you just shout and it's fine. Where if I was trying to do any sort of like anything melodic with that kind of voice, I'd be fucked.
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely answer, mate. You nearly made me cry. But what about yourself, Charlie? Since you're doing the high notes, did you do your do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, dos before you went into the recording? Was everybody watching you? Did you feel the intense pressure?
I do feel pressure when doing vocals. Like, it's not natural for me at all. It's nothing that I really ever wanted to do. It was more a case of like, these tunes need a bit of melody in them. So I better learn how to do that. And to add to the odds fest, I'm not going to do it so heavy on Oz, but we clearly do, right? Do you know he was in Feed the Rhino, Ricky? He
Say
was the
that again,
bassist
sorry?
in Feed. He was the bassist in Feed the Rhino.
Yes.
That's his background. Yeah. So the first time I did vocals on, I think it was Dysfunctional Wonderland, like I was shitting myself. It was vile. I've never been so scared in my life. Like it's so naked, isn't it? I'm normally just hiding behind a load of simps that I've already pre-written, so there's no stress normally. But yeah, when you get in that booth and doing it, and it's not even like you don't have an instrument in front of you; it's just your voice, and everyone can hear. It is very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
But again, Oz kind of coaches you through it. He has this method where during vocal recordings, no one can talk whatsoever. Outside the booth, you can't talk. Like he wants to get through it quick because he doesn't want people to burn out. Once you get the best takes, he wants to focus, which is really good. And he coaches you through it. And I think just over the years, it's got, I've become more used to it. Of course, like singing like in a performance, at shows and gigs and stuff in front of people has given me more confidence. But generally, it starts from that practice room. And like you do a little bit of practice on your own at home, but I even like freak myself out practicing at home. I don't really want to do it then. So getting that studio. But yeah, it's not easy, mate. Not easy. I never really enjoy
in the house when there's nobody around, but you're still shy.
Exactly. Yeah, you're still like, I don't like the sound of it. It's like fuck. But yeah, it's good though. It's good.
But maybe Kit's got the wee bit of the easier because he does sound angrier. Was there a particular line which you had to record over and over and over again before Oz went, yep, that's it?
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah, plenty. There's I take quite a lot of warming up before I can really open up, especially
on
those
question. So you may as well go on to it then, because I'd imagine like if it's the second half of the week, you've got like 10 songs, say verse, chorus, and all the rest of it, and you've only got a short length of time to do that. How do you keep your vocals in check? I mean, there's a lot of vocalists that I speak to use things like Vocal Zone. So I don't know, or do you drink like a special form of tea or something? Like Vocal Zone even do teas now. So Charlie and Kit, what do you guys to keep your vocals in check?
So honey and lemon is a biggie. Lots and lots of fluids, so just lots of water, and also do a lot of warm up exercise as well, like a lot of humming, keep the throat warm. What else, Kit?
Vocal Zone actually did gift us some tea bags. I think technically we're still indoors. I haven't done any free stuff yet, but that's fine. That will come to that later. That's a conversation we need to pick up with them. But they did send us a big stack of the tea bags when they first came out, to the point that years later I've still got a couple kicking about. So for me, it would be honey and lemon with one of the Vocal Zone tea bags. For the more aggressive side of things, Oz actually gave me a bit of a tip when recording Dysfunctional Wonderland, and that is the wonder of a low hum for 5 minutes to really get you warmed up. So I'm just sat in the room going,
I can't hear myself.
Good. So that low, that baritone, but also flat Coke. So I'd buy a can of Coke in the morning, I'd open it up and I'd leave it on the side. Because if you ever want to get that aggression back, now a tiny little sip of this like flat Coke and it will just refresh your aggression vocals.
Proper works, doesn't it, as well?
It really does. And
not the honey and lemon, is flat Coke.
So I would start on honey and lemon, and I'd drink, I think, probably 3 to 6 liters of water throughout the day to really I'm pissing a lot at this point, but needs musts. So I'm just flushing that system out. But when you're actually in the booth, you're like, okay, cool. It'll just go, have a little sip of Coke for me. All right. Do a take, and it's perfect. I'm like, you fucking know what you're doing, don't you?
Wow.
So
that's incredible. But yeah, I was actually going to bring us up with the next question, but you keep on answering 6 questions ahead, you guys. But do you think this is a settled formula that you've got? Because obviously this is what you've done with Nozomi and stuff. Is this where you just keep on seeing yourself going? Or do you want the different studios, the different experiences? What do you think?
So sorry, go on, mate.
No, go on, because I was just going to say horses for courses. I think at that point, like if we decide to take the band in a completely different direction, we obviously want to find a producer that would complement that. But in my personal opinion, where it stands now, Oz truly understands what it is we're trying to do right now, and I've got a lot of confidence in him to deliver that.
Cool. What were you going to say, Charlie? Just pretty much the exact same.
Yeah, I think from a perspective of style and change, like I always want to progress and not go stale on when it comes to our sound.
Yeah.
So there is there are going to be times that change, boys. Right?
Really?
Thank you.
Can we make a thing that we have to have a drink? Can we tell them there's like a Seething Akira?
Oh yeah, of course we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, times
Any quote.
times will change.
You know, it'll never stop.
Yeah, gravity.
I would have
Yeah,
liked,
that's just shit. Yeah.
I would have liked to have played on the radio show enough, but hey,
But I think as Kit says, with Oz, the great thing about Oz is he's very good at understanding what you want. So even if I kind of like went to him and said, look, we want to, you know, the whole point of this is to be creative and to be able to push things in different areas, right? You never want to do the same thing over and over and over. And he would get that, and I think he would set it up right for us to sound a bit different if we wanted to as well. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, isn't it? Like you never know what the future holds.
Absolutely. But this is a musical question, so I'm going to ask Si and Richard this.
The best.
Why would you ask me a musical question? How am I supposed to know a musical question?
So how,
music on a real basis, will I?
well, I mean, all you've got to do is pluck. At least the drummer Stu's got some stamina in him. But
He's sitting down all the time.
So how are the songs constructed within the band? I mean, are they the main songwriters within the band, or do you feel that everybody has a part to play in making the album a more collaborative effort and elevating it above everything that you've done previously? So Richard, is Simon the guy that sends you a riff at 4 o'clock in the morning saying, this is my best riff I've written, by the way, listen to this?
You know, I don't get terribly involved with like the music writing process. Do you know what? I'm just not as good at it. I'm just not as. I guess the real truth is like I don't wake up at 4 a.m. and go, oh, I've got this riff in my head. I've got to put this down. Simon does, John does, Charlie does, Kit does. So when you have like, if you're in the cockpit of the plane and you've got 4, 5 very experienced pilots in front of you, it takes a remarkable amount of hubris to try and elbow them out of the way and go, no, I've got this great idea. You know, I'm very fortunate. Do
you know what you don't know, Richard, but the guys have told me is because you don't contribute musically to the band, they've got their own chat group that doesn't involve you. You know, so they've got a band chat that you're not in.
I imagine it's a lot funnier and gets a lot done.
So Simon, who's the main songwriter then? Who's the one that generates most of the riffs, would you say? Who done it for this album more? Was it a 50-50 or was it more you?
Don't forget, John's not here, so do what you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, truth be told, it is Charlie that like he brings it all together. So we may have one riff, we may have 20 riffs.
Yeah.
Like he's the one that will go, I want a bit of that, I want a bit of that. And then make the song like he's forever.
What you said on the radio show the other night there was Charlie's replaceable. So, but now you're saying that he's not replaceable.
Ricky, correct me if I'm wrong, but Simon said that he's just a backup dancer. That's what I heard Simon say. Wasn't that right?
Yes, absolutely.
I remember that, and I fought his corner, and I remember you fighting his corner too, Ricky. And Simon's like,
plenty of video evidence at that point. Plenty of video evidence.
Now he's like there. I've got to be nice.
I didn't know you could dance, Charlie.
That's Michael Flatley on the mic.
So Simon, you were saying, mate, about the riffs and things like that. So is it yourself that does the 4 o'clock in the morning thing, or are you both equally as guilty of it? Who's generate most of the riffs?
That's more. John is guilty of the stupid o'clock in the morning. Look at the song I've just written. Yeah. Like in 10 minutes, and then you're like, well, bloody hell, John. Like that's he does. He can throw out ideas like anyone's business. Like he's full of good ideas, good riffs.
Yeah. And but how do you get the musical side together when you've all got different personalities, you've all got different musical tastes? How do you negotiate what stays in and what goes out of a song? Because you might come out and say, this is the best riff I've ever written, and everybody's saying, nah, it's not going to work, mate.
That's something I think that every musician at every point, anyone creating anything understands at some point, you've got to go, maybe it isn't.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you've got to be like full of enthusiasm and go, oh, I love this. And then you take it into a room and it was like, yeah, but it's...
That's what Simon's got Bleed Again for anyway, it's all right.
Well, I was actually going to ask, is there a moody one in the band? Is there one person in the band that says, when everybody else says, no, it's not going to work, they go in a huff, or they need to go outside or something like that and come back in?
Stu. Yeah.
That needs more double kick. He's like, I ain't got fucking calves.
The drums that John writes for these tracks in demo form, like he must think that Stu has got like 8 legs, 20 arms, and can blast beat with his eyes closed. Like, yeah, just some of the drum. I listen to it and go, no way anyone can do that. Like,
Yeah.
Stu's amazing, but like I think he must listen to it and throw his phone against the wall, and that's why we don't hear from him in weeks because he's got
See,
to
the
get
weird
a new
thing is,
phone.
I think that works really well because even though you know full well that it's not Stu's bag with some of that crazy stuff that John writes, but at least it's like a framework that Stu tries to work to. So it kind of pushes him a little bit, even though he's like, I can't fucking do that, and then does his own thing. He's still trying a little bit. So I think there's a little like undertone of him being pushed anyway.
Yeah. No, listen, absolutely brilliant, guys. I've only got another 27 questions to ask you. So thanks very much for this interview. Thanks for your time. No, I've only got a few questions left, but unfortunately, we're going to go back to the vocalists. So it's a question for Kit and Charlie then, because we know that they love to talk about themselves. But when it comes to like the lyrics then, is this something that you do yourselves or do you welcome contributions from all members of the band? But I also want to know like what type of lyricists are you like? Like, do either of you watch a lot of films, a lot of documentaries? Do you read a lot of books? Or are you the type of person that you open the front door, you've always got a pad and pen on you, you open the front door, you see something on the street, you write a line and you come back to it later on? What type of lyricist are you?
So I'm definitely option 2 in that, if I'm being honest. But instead of having a pen and paper because it's not 1939, I tend just to type it into my
That's a
phone.
bit personal,
So
mate. A bit personal.
I know,
That's a little bit like ease up, mate. Relax. We're all friends here.
I don't know why I chose that year as well. Horrible year for the world. But anyway, with that in
We're
mind,
laughing at war. God.
But with that in mind, I going back to the whole like 4 a.m. thing. It's not like I'm up writing lyrics 24/7, but there has definitely been times I've woken up stupid hours in the morning and just had this thing and go, I need to write that down. I think I might have been brought up originally, Ricky, when we talk about this stuff. I've got like a 30-40 page document on my phone that is full of absolute fucking nonsense. But then I do have that case of like when that song first comes to me and goes, right, we're ready for lyrics.
Yeah.
I'll usually listen through it and I attach to a feeling. So how does that song make me feel this way? When I've felt like that before, this time, what songs have I got in this repertoire to get this ball going? I struggle always with the first line. Once I've got the first line down, once I've opened the song, in my opinion, I'm on a roll and I can get the whole song done in like an hour. But that first line can sometimes take me fucking weeks to get that first line, because that first line to me dictates the entire song.
Yeah.
So that's why to me it's like I have to get this first line right. And I overthink it a lot. I could probably write a whole number of different things and go, that'll do, fuck it, and then just carry on. But to me, that first line is everything, and it's what triggers the whole song for me.
Do you know what? I interviewed Jason from Ingested, and the way that he does it is he starts from the last line because he's influenced by rappers. Like the rappers can do their bit, and then it's the last line that you remember. It's the most striking line. So he starts off with the last line and works his way back.
I read a similar thing about verses, funny enough, that you should always, when you write your first verse, you should immediately make that your second verse, because now you've got to outdo that again.
Yeah.
So I've done that quite a few times in songs where I've written a verse and think, well, that's incredible, in my opinion. I think that fits this song perfectly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put it over here. Now I've got to do it again. And it forces myself to have to do that again. But because that first line mentality is gone already, I find that even easier than to come back to do that first verse, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So what are the extreme in your lyrics then? If you're saying you've got like 40 pages of notes and stuff, is it everything from like a ballad to watching a horror movie and this is how it made you feel?
Yeah, it could literally be, I could be sat down by the sea and I see something that's quite a cool metaphor, or I think of an idea like I've even, yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Fuck.
It could be a case of you said about like watching a film, or it's weird. Adverts seem to be quite a trigger point for me. There'll always be quite a nice little lick or a nice little word structure that an advert has. Now, I won't use exactly what the advert says, but I think that rhyme worked nicely. What words rhyme with those words? How could I reconstruct this and take apart that sentence and make it my own? Weirdly.
Well, maybe you should, because it was Rage and Speedhorn. They were the music in a tampon advert or something like that. So
Oh, really?
you never know. You never know. You might just have to write that one line and it gets picked up, but you never know. But thanks for that, Kit. What about yourself, Charlie? What kind of vocalist and lyricist are you?
A bad one. I'm kind of like so what tends to happen is Kit's written down like kind of the basis of the lyrics. So the song's been done and then he does lyrics, which is well annoying. But
Come look at my horrible document if you want to see if you can make any sense of the fucking gibberish that I've
when
got
the lyrics, someone's got to start from a clean slate, mate, and just kick it off. You know what I mean? Like some of us don't get ideas.
It's right. You got riffs coming your way willy nilly, mate. It's fine.
Apparently, yeah. Yeah. So when Kit's kind of like done those lyrics, now I mean it's not always been this way, but now after kind of like writing, knowing that there's going to be like melodic stuff in there, Kit will have an idea of an area of where he would like that melodic hook to be. And he'll give me like almost like a skeleton list of lyrics. And what we tend to do, we always have this, it's not even a battle, right? But we talk about it. He will rap over that bit, but 99% of the time there's way too many words because you know what I mean? Like you need some notes to be holding out and up and down and stuff. So I'm like, I need to take these bits out of it. And then he's like, then it doesn't make sense. I'm like, yeah, I get that, but we need to like simplify it down so I can actually build something.
So he's a lazy vocalist. He just wants 3 words in every line. You know, he doesn't want 10 or 12 lines, words in a line.
I want less words.
He's too busy dancing, Ricky. Don't worry about it.
It's a genuine question, Charlie. Like, is it sometimes difficult for Kit to portray how he wants you to sing those lyrics?
Oh, dude, honestly, like this is an absolute can of worms. This one, it's a real can of worms. I won't go too deep into it. Do you know what I'm going to talk about, Kit?
No.
You don't know. You don't know. So I struggle sometimes because the issue that I have is when there's a song that I've effectively constructed, you know, with the help of the boys with their riffs and stuff, I've written that to a feeling and a thought and a story in my own head. And every single song, I have to accept that the song's not going to be about what I've written. Every single song, because everyone knows what words are and understands what they are. So that form of communication completely works. Yeah, fuck you. You wouldn't even have it without me writing it. So yeah, I find it really, really hard to actually to have a message to give and never been able to get it out ever. Whereas like vocally, like Kit can do that. And he knows that everyone's going to listen and know what those words mean. So I struggle with it at times because I've got a completely separate idea for what the song is. But I accepted it fucking years ago, right? You know, whatever the lyrics are is what it's going to be. But yeah, and also having to try and put feeling around what he's been writing around and what he's feeling about is something that I have to adjust to as well. But we do it though, don't we? We do it.
But you know, I'm going to reverse that question to the lyrics that Charlie's wrote. Like, as he said in the studio, no, I want you to sing it like this. I want you to sing it like that. And it took you a wee bit of time to get it right.
I think there's the going back to that demo-itis kind of thing. The positive that comes from that for me is that there's been times where I have filled a second verse or filled an entire section and Charlie just goes, nice one, the first half of that.
Yeah.
And it's like it's fine because I know bigger picture, right? There's just been a very few, in front of touching it earlier about there's been a very few instances like I'll do like 16 lines over a chorus. So can you not at least pick that other line to complement this line? Because then that kind of makes a bit more sense. And we go, well, that's got too many words in it. Like, well, let's try and skim that bit down so we can at least make. And I know it doesn't have to make sense because it only makes sense to me because it's my subject, you could say. But
yeah,
I think it's just no, I want it to be this. Like
What
But like at the end of the day, the bigger picture, right? If it works, it works.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. But what I've taken from this is like Charlie just wants 3 words in every line that he's in so he can get back behind you and start dancing away and jumping about. That's
John,
all
that
he
is
wants to
perfect.
do.
He's
Yeah,
got his Morris
legitimately.
bells and like.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. But I hate to tell you, Richard and Simon, it's again a question for these two. And I know it's.
Yay!
Yeah, refill my wine, please.
Go and get another wine, mate. Go and get another wine because you probably won't be interested in what these guys have to say with this
Probably
question.
heard it, to be fair, haven't I?
But it's
Just before you go, if you're going to go, Richard, I think you're showing great resilience right now.
Ray!
You could say you're quite resistant.
Oh,
yeah.
I hate myself.
I hate
What's
you.
new?
Yay!
Everyone else does.
I think, ladies and gentlemen, these guys are giving us subtle hints about the songs from the new album, if you haven't already picked that up. So, looking forward to hearing it. But again, it's a question for the vocalists. Now, I'm going to paint a pretty grim picture and hope it's something that will not happen for a long time to happen, a long time in the future yet. But you're lying in your coffin. And you've
So
got
next
your
week.
you've got your arms crossed, right? But in your arms, you have a sheet of paper with the lyrics of a song. What song are you most proud of that you would like to take with you when they close the lid? What's the song that you're most proud of? And is there a particular phrase or particular line that you guys are most proud of? I mean, a line that's just came into my head. There's a guy called Dax Riggs. He used to be in a band called Acid Bath, but he's then went like all David Bowie and rock and roll and all the rest of it. But one of his lines was, just like a raindrop, I was born, baby, to fall. And I want to get that tattooed on me. Is there anything that you guys are particularly proud of? And I'm putting you on the spot here.
Act up, hey guys.
Here, you go first.
Fuck off.
Shut up, Simon.
So I've amongst all the aggression and the sort of similes, there are 2 very, very honest songs that I've written.
Yeah.
One's for my daughter and one's for my mum. So at the end of This Folks to Wonderland, there's a song called Dear Hazel, where she basically thanking her for putting up with the absolute fucking reprobate that she made. And just like the fact that I could have been that lawyer, I could have been that engineer, I could have had a kind of a career, right? I could have done that thing, but I didn't, and she still supported me. And then the other song is Reason to Breathe, which is on the Zomi, and that is about the transition of me becoming the person that I was to becoming a father.
Yeah.
So I think there's 2 then. And I'll be honest, it's quite hard to pick because I absolutely love my daughter to bits, but also my mum's my hero. So it's like a real catch-22 for me. But I'd essentially just flip a coin on the day, and that'd be the one.
Do you know, it's the first time I've asked that question in an interview, and that answer's nearly making me bloody cry. So maybe the last time I asked that in an interview. But that's the thing, though, is like I've got a boy 10 years old, and 10 years ago, it's like you're now responsible for something for the rest of your life. You know, it's completely life changing. So I've got utmost respect for that. So thank you. What about yourself, Charlie? You're going to say about aliens or something like that, aren't you?
I'm not. Do you know it's weird though because I do love that shit as well. But I think for me, there's a particular track. If I was lying there in my coffin and I had that there,
Yeah, the sheet of paper there.
Close to your heart. It would be the hook from Smile Thief, which is fuck, 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 fuck.
That's your bit anyway.
That is my bit, and
it means the world to me. Think of lyrics for that fucking song anyway.
It means the world to me. Do you know what? They weren't even mine. They're still kits, aren't they? They're still your lyrics, I think.
And it's got us the most streams so far. 3 fucks in a row. That's all you need to do, apparently.
True story.
Just fuck it off you go. Just fuck away.
Yeah, I don't have one, Ricky. I don't have a heart, so it doesn't matter. You know, that's kind of it.
So there's no more. There's no song that means more to you lyrically than others.
Lyrically, probably not. There's some that I've written with like I've almost kind of like composed in some of it, like especially on the new album, where I've been really, really proud with some of the like harmonies and some of the arrangements, which I've really, really liked. But yeah, that can't really be portrayed in words that are gonna like connect. But yeah, I think there's certainly latest album, there's 2 or 3 tracks that I'm really, really proud of. Like, and
Good stuff. Thank you very much for that, you two. But the artwork for the album, like, let's give a shout out to the artist. So who done it for you? And what information did you give the artist for him or her to go and do their thing? Did you give them the lyrics, the whole album? Or did you say, this is what's in my head, this is what I want you to do? Because can I just say, like, the artwork for Resilient, it gives me a fucking migraine, guys. Looking at that. So I hope it's not something similar.
So essentially, the brief was we went to a photographer that has had done quite a few photo shoots for us in the past, so very familiar with us. And knowing the album was going to be called Council Estate, we just said there's this particular council estate in Portsmouth. We'd love you to go around and take some snaps.
There's a level of, sorry mate, just to add to that, it was like there was a feeling kind of stepping back. And, you know, a lot of those areas, like I grew up in all the shots that you see is where I grew up. Like I've been in Pompey my entire life and grew up on little estates like that do mean a lot to me. And there was kind of a feeling right now of, I wouldn't say full circle, right? But where you get to a point where you've been writing for so long, you've done some albums, you've done some stuff, you've done some shows, and you get to that point where you remember where you started, as cheesy as that sounds. And I legitimately, back in the day in those sorts of places, was when I first started with some friends, like writing music. And it was just a connecting back. So a lot of the art, but I say the artwork, that, you know, the photos and stuff, that Scott Chalmers is a photographer. He does a lot of band shots as well. Based out of Southampton, I think. It was
it's
nice,
quite funny. Everything you said in the last minute is exactly what Jason from Ingesty said about Manchester, like where he grew up in these estates. You've always got to remember where you came from, because that's built you to the person that you are today, you know. So no, absolute respect. But keeping on with the visual side of the album, you guys have got a YouTube channel and you've got a number of tracks on it. So do you think that there's going to be more videos for new songs coming from the new album and what you got planned? But is there also somebody that's the more visual person, like say Simon, for example, saying, right, this song, this is where I see you, we're going to go to woods, it's going to be at night, there's going to be lights on us, or who's the visual one of the band?
We're waiting for the black metal project for that one. But no, the visuals is very much Kit as well. Like,
I would say that I think not fully, but I think at least. So to answer your question about videos, there will be 2 more videos. One comes out with the album. The second one is for a single that would have been released, but it's just taken a bit longer to get that video together. Storyboards tend to just kind of be left with me, and then
do you do the edits as well?
Not the edits, but so the album cover, all the artwork and that is edited by me. So what you might have noticed through, or probably not, because it's a little Easter egg, I like to drop these things in there, is the single artwork has gone from more affected to resilient, until Council Estate is going to become less and less affected per single release. So the effects on that becomes more natural, release by release by release. So I suppose it's almost like a transition from the colourful shit that we've always been into that more raw Council Estate feeling. So it's a nice little stepping stone into that. From a music video perspective, again, I'll be honest, a lot of it usually comes from a drunken conversation of me and Charlie at our local, and we're like, it'd be fucking cool if we did a video like this. And it's like, oh, cool. And the next one's like, make the storyboard. Okay, let's get it done. And then it's a lot of, once that's done, I run it past the boys. Everyone's got their chance to chip in, and if there's anything to disagree with or anything like that, and then we'll book in calls with video editors and get the ball rolling, really.
It sounds as if alcohol's the common theme to actually keep you guys together as a band. It's the only way that you tolerate each other.
If we were sober, we would have ended in like 2012, I reckon.
You would have 6 solo projects down in Portsmouth. But
Double chin coming soon.
But I've only got 2 questions left. So, like I say, I very much thank you for your time tonight. But it's all to do with your set list again. So it's a question for each of you. I'm going to ask you, Seething Akira, you've got an hour-long set. You've got 8 to 10 songs to play. What's the one song off the new album, plus your back catalogue, that you're personally looking forward to playing on the stage, and why? So one song from the new album and one song from your back catalogue that it might be number 5 in the set list, but you can't wait for it to be played. So Charlie, you're the top left, mate. So you start.
So easy back catalogue for me is Metaphors.
Why?
Because that's just, I don't know, live.
There's no singing for you and you just dance.
Yeah, that's it. I can just dance because that's what I do, right? I just love the reaction we get from that song. It's always been great. So I look forward to playing Metaphors. On the new album,
trying to get an exclusive here and give me a different song title.
Yeah, that's what I knew you were doing that, because there's something I want to say, but I can't say it really.
What track is it on an album so the other guys know which one you're talking about?
I've just had to load up the album track as well, just to make sure I know which one I'm talking about.
I was wondering what you were doing.
It's track 1, guys. It's track 1.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
And we played that. We played that live a couple of times.
Yeah,
on the sly. But yeah, track 1 on the new album and Metaphors.
So what is it about track 1 then?
It's the most kind of, I would say, hooky, together, accessible, fun song that we've probably ever written.
Yeah.
And I'm all about people's reactions, Ricky. I know you're not meant to be, right? It's way cooler to go, I don't give a fuck what people think about our music. But I love it when I see people enjoying what we've written. And I think that's going to be one that people enjoy. So, yeah.
I'm so jealous. I would love to do what you guys do, get on stage and just seeing people. I've never seen Seething Akira. I don't know what they're like and all the rest of it. But by the end of the set, they've been jumping around as much as you have. So it must be the best feeling in the world seeing the crowd to react. But Simon, you're the top right, mate. So song off the new album and song from your back catalogue.
I'm going to start with an old song because I need to refresh my memory of the order of the songs on the new album. Because I've been listening to them in such a weird order that my track 1.
Well, what you can do with a new album is give the initials of the letters and other guys.
Oh, don't do it, Simon! Don't do it.
No, I've just dropped them in the chat for you, Simon, just so you can remember the names and order they're in.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
Okay, I'll start with the new album then. So I'm going to go with actually track 10, last track.
So what is it about 10? Is it an instrumental, no singing from the vocalists?
I'll put it there because it's shit.
If only. No, like this particular song, there's so many dynamics in it. Like it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
So when the drops hit, they hit hard.
Good.
So it's actually an absolute banger, that tune.
Yeah.
That is a banger.
Good.
Yeah.
Like it. What about the older catalogue?
Old song. I love playing Dioxide. Like Dioxide, just the energy in that track. And the crowd goes wild. Like you feel the energy from the crowd. You give the energy. Yeah.
It's because you get to play a guitar solo, isn't it?
There's no solo in Dioxide.
Oz gets to play what?
Good stuff, mate. Thanks very much for that. Richard, what's your normally called? Spud?
Spud, whatever works for you, man. What was it?
Do you know what? We'll call you the same, my Sunday name as well. Richard, what's your songs, mate?
I think my favourite one to play is probably the older songs is probably Smile Thief. It's one of our most visceral, like snarling punk rock type. Fucking who gives? Let's put as many swear words.
He's when you bring in death metal to Seething Akira, by the way. Did you hear that in his voice?
So it's my favourite. It's like I mean, like Kit's a really good lyricist, and so when he dispels with any kind of subtlety or subterfuge or kind of alluring. It just, fuck this, fuck you. It's just that level of just like just fucking incendiary rage. And when you see like everyone in the crowd like doing it back, it's like everyone's got a fucking story, and it's just like you forget about when you're playing. You just forget about the notes and you forget about everything else. It just becomes this.
Please don't forget about the notes.
It's only the bassist. Nobody would notice anyway.
Exactly. I'm so low.
0.5% on the volume. It's fine. Like,
yeah. I think that's probably my out of the older songs. That's probably my most favorite.
And the new album?
Same as Charlie. It's track 1. It's the chorus is just incredible, and for me, like at a personal level, it means quite a lot. The chorus, like the lyrics are really good, and it's just so much. It really, again, like I said, I don't write like anywhere near anything like what these guys do. So I'm actually kind of in a privileged position where I can be a bit like a Seething Akira fan who gets to hear everything first. And so when I heard that chorus for the first time, it was like, I know, it was, yeah.
Do you know what, Ricky? We can tell you that track 1 is one of the singles that's going to be released out the next two.
And it will have a video.
Yeah, and it'll have a video as well.
Well, what you just said there was you were going to tell me it, but you haven't told me it because it's not out yet.
Yeah.
That'll be coming out on the 20th of
Thanks
October.
for that. Thank you. That clears a lot for me. Kit, what about you,
Ricky,
mate?
I would just like to go back to the question really quickly, just to make sure I understand fully, because I love a good caveat here. Are we talking about that's not even a fucking fuck
No,
off.
it's not. It's not. But it's my favorite lyric from Blame Pain.
Okay, cool. You just dropped a new song name.
Cheers.
No, just the hobby of blaming pain.
So just go back to the question.
I feel as if I've written some lyrics to this every time you say something. I'm drinking.
So just to go back to the question, is this if we got to pick our favourite songs to put into an hour-long
personal songs? So if the guy
Cool.
said to you, you can pick 2 songs in your set list, but one's from the new album, one's from your back catalogue.
I'm going to go a little bit off tangent on them because there's 2 songs, one old, one new, that I think really shows Seething Akira in a completely different light to other songs that we do.
Yeah.
So old stuff, I'm going to go with Lost at Sea. I absolutely adore that song. It was one of the singles that we released on the last album, and I'm going to be very honest, I don't think it got as much of attention as I would have liked it to. Not because I'm a big egotistical prick or anything, but giving Simon a bit of a heads up, a bit of a hype on that one. There is a guitar solo that says that song that really reminds me of the kind of music my mum would listen to. So it's like there's a real beautiful exit guitar solo. It's a
Daniel O'Donnell.
Yeah, of course. Shawaddy Waddy.
I loved them back in the day.
Charlie, what was your first band that you ever saw live?
Shawaddy Waddy.
What was the second band you ever saw live?
Shawaddy Waddy.
Cool, we'll call that a day then.
My parents knew the saxophone player or something. Yeah.
So that's my old song, Lost at Sea. I think it's got a really strong emotive message behind it, and I adore the song to bits. Of the new one, and I'm going to name it because we've already done a fucking video announcing it's coming out, is Sunflower Shadows. It's a song that sees us take a direction that we have never done before, and I'm very excited to see how the public take it.
Well, there you go then. I'm very much looking forward to listening to it. I can't wait to get the new album, things like that. But this is a moment for Simon and Richard and the guys that aren't here. Tough shit, because you guys are going to be talking about the make and model of the instruments that you used to record the album. So we'll start with you, Simon, then. But in fact, you know what? We'll start off with the bowling one. We'll start with the bass because it's just going to be a forced. Do you know something? I bet you've got a 4-string bass, but you only use the 1 string.
Barely. I might not even use that.
You mime.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Seething Akira, I've got backing tapes.
Who knew?
So Richard, so what's the make and model of your bass? What's your amps? What's your setup, mate? What's your pedals?
So I have a 5-string Mexican Fender Jazz bass.
You're bringing power metal into the band or something with 5 strings? Progressive elements.
Again, I only play one of those strings, so it still doesn't count. And I run that when we record it. I run it through a dark glass. It's called the Photon,
Okay.
and it's kind of like the Alpha Omega Plus. Dark Glass released a pedal called the Adam, and it was like a whole new sort of format. And they redid the Alpha Omega drive pedal, and they did it in this huge this box. And I was a little bit worried about taking it to Oz because obviously he's a bassist and he's amazing. So I was like, I kind of like went, this is kind of what I was thinking. Put it down, and he had a little bit of a tweak with it, and he went, yeah, we can use that. It was like, yes, I contributed. Yeah, so we were running through that live, and now we just use a proxy where myself and John both run through his quad, where John's basically fabricated my tone onto his pedal. So that's what we do. So basically, the tone of the album is what you hear live.
You've actually surprised me because I thought you would just plug in your bass, plug it into the amp, and that's you.
I probably need supervision. If I'm honest, Ricky, just plug to amp,
That's it. That's it. No, thanks for that, mate. Thanks for that. What colour? But I mean, there's no point asking you. Like, do you take up a second bass just in case you're on a week-long tour and stuff like that, in case you break a string? Because you don't. From what you told me, you don't bloody play it. You got backing tapes and stuff like that, so you never broke a string, have you?
Well, I do quite well. I change them pretty regularly now because you can hear it. Like when I really like a bright, zingy, gritty tone, and as soon as it really doesn't take a lot of Seething Akira shows for those strings to die. So I like to change them quite a lot.
Yeah.
But before that, yeah, I used to break strings quite a lot, quite commonly.
Do you use a plectrum or do you just use your fingers?
Nah, plectrum all the way. Like I love like the aggression and the attack you get for a pick. You get like a very specific. You get a lot of. It's so precise, and you can get a lot of tones out of using a pick. How you dig into the note can change it quite a lot. And
cool.
Yeah, I quite like the punk rock driving sound of it.
Yeah.
But again, it's like if a song requires fingers, like softer songs, then you use fingers. But a lot of what we do live, you need that aggression, that drive.
Cool. Thank you very much for that, mate. Thank you. Simon, this is the one I've been really looking forward to hearing about. So what's your guitar? If he's a 5-string bass, then you've got to be a 7-string guitar.
We're 7-string guitars, yeah. And well, it's a shame John ain't here because recording this album and the album before, we actually used a 6-string Fender baritone guitar.
Yep.
Because the longer scale allows us to drop tune, but to keep the note doesn't kind of waver around.
Yeah.
So if you have short scale and you're low tuned, obviously the string is quite loose. So then when you hit one of the low notes, it bounces around, can go out of key and stuff like that. So it's actually the same guitar that we used on Nozomi for most of the rhythm guitar tracks.
Yeah.
And that I think's got a what's the pickup in it? I think it was a War Pig, like a UK made. Forgotten the manufacturer. That's gone. So we basically use that guitar for the rhythms, but we don't use that live. So that was a 6-string. But live we both use 7 strings. We're in drop F tuning.
Cool.
So it is pretty low. And
are you the geek of the band? Do you have like 20 pedals in your board?
We both use Quad Cortex. So, but yeah, I was before I bought a Quad Cortex. I was the giant pedal board. I had about 8 pedals on there.
Yeah.
I'm definitely one of the techie nerds of the band. Like I sort all the in-ear system out. That's all stuff that I program and I've done the research and bought those things. So yeah, that's very much a piece of me there.
The only thing I'm disappointed in is that you don't use the HM2 Boss pedal. Like the Swedish buzzsaw guitar sound, like Entombed and things like that. But anyway,
I had one of those back in the day.
Did you?
Yeah. And I did hang on to it for quite a while, but I did sell it when I realised how bad the distortion sound was.
Palestine.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for that, mate. Thanks for that, mate. Right, the two vocalists then. I'm sorry, Kit. I'm looking at Charlie here
Probably
because
best.
see him. Because the question I asked the vocalists are like, do you guys do your research and find the sound of a particular microphone that you like and that's what you use? Or you guys give me an SM58 and I'll fucking sing into it, you know, so you don't bother with anything, just give me an SM58. Charlie, with your professional microphone in front of you, mate, did you do your research, find a particular microphone? What microphone did you use in the studio and what do you use when you're on stage?
So we're kind of like in the studio. I literally have no idea what we used. Not a clue. Like I was just selected whatever sounded. Did we had separate, didn't we, Kit? I think we had
did have
different
separate.
mics, each of us. But when it comes
brings
to
out a briefcase of microphones, go, I think flicking
this
through a
is your
Firefox,
one and this is your
that's
one.
yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
But when it comes to live, we so it's kind of like a bit of both here. It's all about the processing through the door. So we actually send vocals from the wireless vocals through processing through the door. So we'll EQ it within the laptop, and we'll also, depending on the section of the song and what's going on, we could kind of make it lo-fi, or we can add a special reverb or a special bit of delay. So we actually mess around quite a lot with the tone and characteristics of the vocal.
Yeah.
And this is all kind of automated as well.
Cool. What's the microphone you've got in front of you? You don't have a clue, do you?
Rode. It's a Rode, like, it's not a super expensive one, but it's more for, like, I don't really sing into this one very often unless I'm just, like working and just feel like singing. But yeah. But it's pretty good though. Does it sound good? Does it sound good to you guys?
Sounds absolutely perfect, mate. Absolutely perfect.
Good.
I'll come across well in the interview. I will have to press the unmute button before. No, always good. What about yourself, Kit, mate? What do you prefer?
Whatever is put in front of me. So this microphone here is a Behringer C1.
Okay.
It's one that I was gifted because it makes noise and I get to record voices. I have this pair of old Motorola headphones that I use for calls because they were free.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that Maker headphones all across social media? Is it Heavy or something like that? It's called.
Yeah, but like
And you can get the band name on the side or something.
These were free, Ricky. These were free. I don't care. I think my mum got these free of her phone like 10 years ago or something. I was like, that'll do. They're fine. When I did my first ever demo for Seething Akira, it was for a SingStar microphone plugged into some hacked software on an old Windows laptop. I'm not overly precious about that. I let Charlie make the decisions, and I just sit down like a good boy and get patted on the head. And that's how it goes.
Well, I don't mean to say this, but you've had a lot of patting on your head, haven't you?
Well, I fucking wore down the headline, so yeah,
absolutely,
I guess so.
mate. Absolutely.
Have you noticed he's a Rob Halford knockoff these days? He used to be like Jesus, but now he's
Rob Halford and Mick Hucknall off Timu. That's what we are.
Yeah, that's what we are.
But listen, guys, I cannot wait to see you guys on October the 19th tear a new one at Ivory Blacks in Glasgow. It's going to be absolutely brilliant to see you. You haven't mentioned a rider yet, so that's fine. I won't get you one.
It's fine, Ricky, because do you know what John and Stu said to me before? Because they said they couldn't make the call. They actually said they're going to buy all the drinks for everyone that night.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
So they said, we're really sorry that we couldn't make your call, Ricky. So because of that, John and Stu are buying all of your drinks from start to finish.
That's fine. I'll just leave my wallet in the house then.
Because John and Stu have got you, mate. John and Stu
you won't need it. You won't need it.
The fact that it's online and live, it's true. So I do appreciate that. But cannot wait to see you guys up here in Glasgow. Hope you guys have an absolute blast as well. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you guys.
You too,
as always, thank you so much for the invite, Ricky.
Cheers, man.
And
take care.
Cheers, dude.
Cheers now.